Working remotely is gradually becoming a new normal for many of us and our teams. Like with any situation, this too comes with its merits and demerits. On the one hand, organizations can save money spent on resources, and employees could have a safer working environment in the midst of the pandemic. On the other hand, it is also important for managers and leaders to find new ways of engaging their employees to keep them motivated and focused on deliverables. In this learning lesson, we will look at how you can lead remote teams successfully. We will be sharing some practical tips that will help you set the stage for getting the most out of your teams while managing them remotely. We will talk about how managers and leaders can foster a remote culture that is inclusive and focused on engaging all employees. We will discuss some practical challenges that managers may face while navigating this new normal of working remotely. Finally, we will learn some best practices that can help employees stay motivated and productive during this constantly shifting environment. It is the organization and the leadership's responsibility that employees feel safe physically and mentally, more so in a crisis like what we are going through right now. As a leader, you must employ strategies and tips that can empower your managers and support your staff members' well-being. So the first step is provide clarity. With so much ambiguity and uncertainty, leaders cannot afford to have a workforce that is not clear on what is expected of them. It is more important now than ever before that employees face no ambiguity or confusion on how they are expected to operate professionally while balancing their commitments personally. Consider these suggestions to ensure clarity of information and instructions on those operating remotely. The second tip, availability of resources. In the last few weeks, even the most skeptical of us has had to resort to digital methods for communication and operations. Identifying your preferred solution to stay connected with your team and for the team members to connect with each other and important customers and stakeholders is important. Many services like Zoom, GoToMeetings, Microsoft Teams, etc. work seamlessly for sharing, communicating, and staying connected. While planning, keep in mind the limitation that employees may have when working remotely. Think about access to technology, access to shared drives, printers, and equipment, etc. Now collaborate with the right teams to facilitate these resources for employees to be able to work efficiently. Leaders and managers must focus not only on technology but also on availability of physical space whenever and wherever required. Putting a staffing and resource utilization plan in place allows things to run smoothly. The third thing that you must be mindful of is adjusting and reworking of targets and goals for our employees for them to know what to focus on in the new normal. Performance goals, in all probability, have changed for individuals and teams. Consider adjusting them and then communicating them clearly to your team members. The next thing that's important is to set a communication framework for employees. Set a schedule for regular conversations and check-ins. A weekly call and a daily check-in will help you stay on top of not just performance deliverables, but also how people are coping and feeling. The next thing, increase communication frequency and channels. Robust communication is that glue that will hold a scattered team together. Timely and effective communication build trust and give clarity to employees. Now is the time to put technology to great use. Adopt an omni-channel approach and use emails, virtual meeting platforms, group chats, announcements, and chat options to communicate news and information quickly. A high level of transparency will make this rough patch easier to navigate. Tracking of daily and weekly progress. Creating a report format on a shared drive that all employees can access for updating progress on tasks helps the entire team stay on track. You, as the leader, will have better control over the team's performance. The next thing is consider if there is merit in putting a standard operating procedure document to define all aspects of remote working. Do appraise this option as it will help achieve standardization across all remote working situations, not just for now, but also for the long run. Employees can simply be given the document to gain complete clarity on the work from home protocol. The next thing that you may want to consider is an employee pulse check. It is understandable that you as a leader are coping with a lot of changes, in the midst of which you may miss out on checking out how your employees are feeling and where they need support. You may think that the entire team is calibrated on how to operate in this situation, but in reality, many may be feeling confused and lost keeping up with the rapid pace of change. A great way to know what your employees are feeling is to ask them. You could do this through a formal survey or more informally over a one-on-one or a catch-up conversation. The important thing is all these methods is that you listen. You listen and then you act on the feedback. Let us not forget that our employees are our biggest asset and their well-being is very much our business. My next tip for you is practice empathy and flexibility. Your team is going through a lot, just like everybody else. As a manager, they will look to you for support and understanding. Show empathy, and a great place to start is by sharing how you feel. Support each other and what are some common challenges that as a team you're facing could be interesting and important points of discussion. Ask them to share their ideas and concerns and listen carefully. Come up with solutions and plans together as a team. As a team manager, you will have to wear different hats at different times. Sometimes you lead by giving clarity and direction. At other times, you're an empathetic team member. Sometimes you wear the hat of a coach, and at other times, a pillar of support. Staying flexible will help you meet the different needs that your team may have. As a departure from the norm, you could plan a virtual team lunch or team coffee meet and talk about things other than targets and productivity. This will work like a charm in soothing those nerves. My next tip to you is be emotionally intelligent. Team dynamics and behaviors will change and evolve as people transition from the familiar into the unfamiliar. Expect feelings of confusion, depression, and demotivation to come through. Emotional highs and lows may be extreme as people try to find their way through this new jungle. With patience, understanding, and support, you should see your team evolve and move from the storming phase to the norming phase and gradually to the performing phase. One of my favorite tips is this: encourage work-life balance. Discourage work-related discussions outside of working hours. Agree on log-in and log-out timings. You can even maintain a tracker in a shared folder for this. Resist the urge to call people outside the agreed upon work hours. Encourage team members to balance a productive day at work with a fun evening at home. Make it a point to ask people about their weekends and what they did. In fact, in the beginning of the week, team check-ins could have a 15-minute slot for everyone to share their weekend activities with each other, just like how we have in a regular work environment. How was your weekend? What did you do? How was that movie? And how did that baking experiment turn out? These are all questions that will help bring a sense of normalcy and will serve as a great reminder to people that the same physical space needs to be mentally divided into being used for work hours and personal hours. If you're a team member, then the next set of recommendations is for you. It takes two to tango. I'm sure you would have heard that before, but never has it been more relevant than right now. These uncertain times need each one of us to rise to the challenge and do our best. It is understandable that being the most productive and hitting all those targets may not be the first thing on your mind. However, we must not forget that walking that extra mile and stretching beyond our comfort zone to add maximum value to our business will go a long way in protecting our organization from the economic impact of the situation. The following tips will help you make the most of your working from home routine. First of all, demarcate a space for work. You do not need any fancy setup to set up a dedicated space while working from home. With a little bit of imagination and creativity, even a corner of your room can become your work office. You finally get to have your corner office now. Well, jokes aside, do remember to keep a few points in mind while setting up your space at home. Do consider privacy, noise, Wi-Fi connection, natural light, temperature control, and access to things you need on a regular basis. Demarcating a physical space for work will help create a distinction in your mind as well. Your mind will learn to align itself to work hours and will be able to minimize distractions from affecting your productivity. My second tip for you is set boundaries for others in your space. Most of us will have kids, roommates, or significant others vying for attention and space in the same area. It is important that we set expectations about where work boundaries exist. This might include a designated physical space that, if possible, is not intruded upon. If kids need to be taken care of, then partners can agree on specific parts of the day when one person works and the other tends to the children. Partners can then swap roles so that no one person's work is adversely impacted. My next suggestion to you is create and stick to a regular routine. Remote workers' stress, anxiety, and burnout are serious concerns, especially in times like these. To find a sense of normalcy, it can help to develop a consistent daily schedule. This could include getting ready for the day, such as exercising before diving into the day's work, or trying to follow a routine as close to a regular work day when you were not working from home. Consider making a plan for the day that includes the start of the day. Get prepared for the day as normal, take a shower, get dressed, eat breakfast. The middle of the day. Set aside the middle of the day for daily tasks, team meetings, and even breaks throughout the day. The end of the day. Find time to wind down, connect with team members, and actually log off. You must absolutely resist the temptation to watch television, chat with friends over the phone, or sink into a couch with a cup of coffee. These are damaging habits and will have massive negative impact on your work and performance and also overall how you feel at the end of your workday. Everybody understands an exception, but these habits can't become a rule in your work from home routine. Do whatever it takes to stop yourself from falling into these bad habits. Another important thing that you must not ignore is finding time for self-care. Working from home does not mean that you work yourself to death. Employees often suffer from feelings of guilt or the additional pressure to prove that they are productive in a work from home situation. These are normal responses, and creating awareness in your mind about these is a great start point. Remind yourself that working from home is neither a luxury nor a choice. It is the need of the hour. Being productive and completing tasks on your to-do list will make you feel good and take the feeling of guilt off your mind. Indulge in some self-care. Closure of gyms does not mean that you allow yourself to be lazy. Climb that extra flight of stairs and go for a long walk or run in the evening to keep your body healthy. After all, a healthy mind resides in a healthy body. It would be optimal to get at least 30 minutes of exercise each day, at least 3 to 4 times a week. Use extra time carefully. Time is a precious resource, and using it wisely can turn the situation around for you. Consider expanding your work skills by enrolling for an online course. Attend webinars. They are all over and are mostly free. They present a great learning opportunity. Consider learning a new language. Remember, when the situation gets better and companies start hiring, people with that extra skill that goes beyond the requirements of the role would stand a better chance than those who have not thought outside their job role at all. Read more, move more, learn more, innovate more, apply more, produce more, and excel more. Following the tips laid out in this video discussion will help you stay alert, active, happy, and productive. As an organization, it is important that we put on a united and supportive front for our employees. And while you might not have all the answers, you do have the power to communicate often, listen to your employees, innovate with your processes, commit to your organization, and stay the course. Thank you for joining us.